Welcome back to the big board. Whew. What a morning this morning. I thought I'd take a minute here to take a break and have a chat about the module from the Great Battles of History series, the Julius Caesar or Kaiser, depending on how you want to pronounce it, deluxe edition. Fantastic production values, lots and lots of shrink rips out there. I seem to get my games very late, either because I order late or my last name starts with an S, so I'm down on the food chain, or it's the location being in Texas. What are you going to do? So anyway, I'm not going to do discussions about the components and shrink rip and all how fabulous it is, because it is fabulous. Go look at someone else's shrink rip and enjoy their video and their commentary on it. What I did want to do, I've played many scenarios, or quite a few scenarios, from the two modules that this game comprises. It's got Caesar's Civil Wars and Caesar's Gallic Wars. And I have a lot of reference material for those two modules. I've got the Landmark series and I think Goldsworthy's book on Caesar, and so there's lots of good content that I can use as reference material. Don't have so much on this particular battle, or the I would call this the Numidian Wars, or I think it was the Gergathenian Wars. Did they give it a name? I'm just looking here now. I'm wondering if they did. Regardless, Jugurtha was a king in Numidia, and he conducted some argy-bargy bullshit and knocked off one of his relatives after his father died, when his father was king, made himself king, took out some other cousins, bribed a bunch of the senators from Rome, and basically threw money around like a madman and pissed a lot of people off. Then raided and sieged various cities that were, let's call them protectorates, for want of a better term, in Numidia, or the coastal line, or just out of the country, next, either direction. Whether, I forget whether it was Mauritania or more towards Egypt, but one of the two. He invaded and looted and killed a lot of Romans. Kind of pissed off the Romans. They said, fine, we're going to have at it. There was a lot of political intrigue around the Roman engagement with the Numidians because of leadership issues, where various, not magistrates, I'm trying to think of the correct term now. I probably should have looked it up before we got started. Proconsul, that's the word I'm looking for. So various proconsuls were swapped in and out, and a lot of intrigue there as well. But in the end, Marius, who executed the Marian reforms, turning the conscript volunteer army of the Republic into a professional army, and also that happened sort of as the Republic was declining and growing. The Republic was declining in terms of its original intent, and becoming much more of a classic rich dudes run the place, poor dudes get screwed over type of environment. And so the empire was expanding. They couldn't really prevail upon landowners who were the conscripts to serve such long terms. They moved things to a professional army, and he was one of the instigators of that. There's argument about whether or not that was a particularly good thing, and or as significant as it has been portrayed in the past. When I was growing up, it was like, well, the bee's knees. This changed the way the Roman army functioned and worked, and made them the superpower they are, and all this sort of stuff. And now it's kind of like, well, they've made some changes. So that's what I'm getting out of it anyway, when I read some more modern texts. All of that to say, I'm playing this Battle of Cirta, assuming that's the correct way to pronounce it, 106 BC, And it's an interesting scenario because it's one of those sort of movement to contact scenarios, which you don't get very often in Great Battles of History. It's all very much set piece. There's no maneuver per se. So I'm in a bit of a quandary, and that's why I'm making the video, is because I'm looking for some opinion and some advice, because I'm unclear, how as the Jurgathinian player to or Jurgatha's side, I should say, it's an Numidian player really, take advantage of the close to contact, the way the rules for the scenario are set up. And there's an important distinction. If these Romans are in route march or route march, depending on how you want to pronounce that, when they're attacked, they receive significantly more damage. So the only way that Jurgatha can win is to rack up a bunch of VPs quickly before the Romans either exit off the map or kick his ass. So while they're en route march, it's a great opportunity to have at him, right? Because I also have some questions about whether or not I can change facing when I'm in route march. It's not like one of those ambush things where you've got to keep moving. This full movement rate, as long as I keep my spacing, I'm allowed to pretty much do whatever I want. In fact, I could turn this whole thing and go this way, or turn and go to the left, right? But we need to exit off this west edge, this edge, that edge of the map. Now, so part of it is I could just run these bad boys off, but they've got to stay in formation. They can't move within 6 hexes of the enemy. So there's that. If they do, then they drop out of route march, and they're allowed to, form up. Now it's already going to be a little bit tricky for the Romans because they're going to have to basically fight back to back potentially, but it's 90%, 80%, 70% cavalry, Numidian cavalry, so they're going to throw a lot of spears and javelins and stuff, and they're not going to potentially do a whole lot of damage. But there are a lot of route point high value units on this side, which is why I brought 2 formations in from here. I want to try and kill as many of these as I can and crank out or get up 50 route points as quick as I can, and try and avoid the cohorts. We're not dealing with Principes, Hastati, and Triarii. Everything is just a cohort in the post-Marian world, or the Marian reforms mode. So they're tough. We don't want to be fighting them head on, shields and pilum and stuff like that, nasty. So what I'm struggling with is how to get to contact, and I'm just going to read this to you, and so it might someone might be able to click here, and maybe it'll click while I'm reading it to you. So the Roman route march is interesting because I can stay like this and keep moving. The Numidians can force the Romans to stay in this formation if they pass, right? So if all of the Numidians pass, the Romans have to stay in this formation, which is what I did, I think, the last turn. So we're about to start turn 4, I believe. So turn 1, turn 2, I got those guys. These guys have moved once or twice, I believe. And now I'm wondering, should I pass to keep them in this formation? And then that puts some pressure on the Romans, because if they move, they don't have to move their full 12. They get 12 movement points in route march. If they move, I can move some of the guys off and protect them. But then, do I want to do that? If I want my full force to take on the Numidians and sort of bring them to battle per se, right? We want to do that. So anyway, so I have this route march thing. So, and I can pass and force them to be in it, but if I pass, I can't freaking attack them. So once I close with them, they drop out of this route march, and then they can, on an activation, they can start reacting and stuff like that. So I don't see how I get the benefit of attacking them in route march. I'm confused. So let me see. So I mentioned the mandatory route march thing. The Roman has may move each or all of his units 12 movement points, regardless of the printed movement factor. We must maintain formation and spatial relationship to other units. No units may move within 6 movement points of a Numidian unit. So now, so technically, the Numidians can close to within 6 or less and attack, but the Romans can't move to within 6. So once we close, I think that means that the route march is going to have to come off, potentially, right? Units may not do anything else other than move. No special formations are allowed. The Romans may declare route march at any time if his units meet and will meet above all their requirements. In addition, all cohorts and cav must be within range of their eligible leaders, yada, yada, yada. Tribunes and prefects must be within twice the command range, blah, 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 blah. So if the Numidian unit shock attacks Roman infantry, not cavalry, well, so there goes that idea, and does so with position superiority, Roman cohesion hits are tripled, not doubled. If a Roman unit is shock attacked while en route march, or the Roman player does anything else during his turn other than route march, the Romans are no longer en route march, and the Numidian missile fire has no effect on route march. So maybe I can do my move to within 4, and we do that hasty attacks, those hit and run attacks, and cycle through. Maybe that's what I need to do, is close up and then do that. It's now making me wonder if I should have done that last turn. Oh well. Let's see. Section commanders may automatically be issued legion and line commands. The first game turn, the Romans emerge from the first use only of route march. Yeah, and the victory conditions are this, right? If the Numidian player has fewer route points than the Romans, and the Romans have incurred at least 50, then the Numidians win. If the Roman player has less route points than the Numidian, he escapes Jugurtha's ambush. However, unless the Numidian player has more than 50 route points, Marius is eager for a definitive result, and the concomitant glory will not be happy. In that case, consider the game a draw. So that's kind of what's going on, and I'm trying to work out how I get, I've got this other force here. Let me just loosen up the camera. I've got this force here that needs to come on. And they're committed to come on this side. You've got a pre-commit where all the units come on. And I've got another set of guys down here that are foot, and they need to close up on the rear of this. And that might be an interesting fight here. Oh no, actually no, these are veteran. That's a veteran legion, the 3rd Legion, who interestingly enough, earlier on in the war, betrayed their leader and did bad things and paid the price for it. All right, so offer your 2 cents, because why not? It's a Friday. It's, I think, I don't know what time it is. Is it 10 or 11 or something? Yeah, it's 11:30. You're probably taking a break for lunch. Hopefully you get a chance to watch this video. You may not get to this point where you have an opportunity to chime in, but please chime in and tell me what you might do. The rules for this, if you have the game, are on page 7 of the scenario book. And maybe I'm missing something here, but I'd like to try and work out the best way to take advantage of this Roman triple damage business. So it sounds like it's going to be these guys down here that will cause the potential damage, or these chaps here, because the cavalry is screening this side here and they don't get triple damage. All right, all the best. Go roll some dice.